Welcome to the Victors Nation podcast, episode 15. We are going to do something a little different tonight. We're going to come to you live and talk about Michigan State and all the bull crap that's surrounding our program and Jim Harbaugh and the sign gate, as is what we're going to call it. We are presented by Big Banner Sports. Follow them to get all your Big 10 podcast news. Um, Derek, that's my guy. He's back. Thank you for being back. We lost Jason this week, but we got Derek back. So, um, welcome back, bro. We missed you around
Yeah,
here.
glad to be back. I was kind of bummed out to miss the two pods last week, especially a crossover pod with little brother there. So glad to be back, and sometimes life gets in the way of being able to do some of these podcasts. So Jason's being a dad to twins tonight, and was unable to make it on. And I know that there's some stuff that he wants to say about what we're going to talk about. But we've got a lot to unpack here, a lot to talk about. Like Dre mentioned, we are live. So typically we record and then run our podcast the following day right around lunchtime. Bear with us if there's any technical difficulties because we have little control over that happening. But
Yeah,
let's
for
get
sure.
into it. And Dre, let's start out with how good it felt to absolutely dominate Michigan State this past weekend. You were there. You were in that
Man,
stadium.
as you can see, my face lights up, man. It was to be honest, it was an unbelievable day. It started for me at probably at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I mean 11 a.m. I got to East Landfill and I parked. It wasn't really hard to park. Shout out Big Jeff Barnhart for telling me where to park for the low. So I got in real easy. And then the bar that I went to where they parked, when you pay to park, they gave me like a $20 little coupon for the restaurant. So I ended up buying shots for everybody with the coupon. So that was cool. And then we ended up eating at Domino's right across the street because we really didn't see anything good on the menu. No disrespect to them. Um, then I went to go tailgate with Mr. Barnhart for the rest of the time that I was down there. Uh, I had Paul with me, mini replica of Paul with me the whole time I was lugging that around. I had to walk like 8 blocks to the Michigan State store to grab one of their bags so I can take Paul into the stadium. But then we get to the game, and the game is it's electric. It's 60-40 Michigan. I'm gonna say, you know what I'm saying? I think we had more people in their stadium this year, and that was the first time ever seeing it. It was amazing. It was the electricity from the Wolverines was awesome. You know what I'm saying? It was a no greater feeling. And then just to lead their stadium and you hear the whole stadium screaming, "It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine." It was just electric. And then after that, I got to meet with some of the boys, and I got my Paul signed. I got it signed by the coach and some of all of the captains, and that was just the cap of my night, man. But it was great. 49 zip, house little brother again. It's no greater feeling than me.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
about you though?
I had a wedding over the weekend, and that's why I wasn't on last week for the podcast. It was one of my good friends from college, and we had some people travel back into town, and ended up hosting one of my best friends and their family for the week. But he's a diehard Michigan fan too, so we ended up watching the game from my house, and oh man, we both wanted a 50 burger. We kind of wanted them to go for 2 at the end of the game just to put up 50. But getting a shutout was the shutout was nice. The seeing finally the defense get that well-deserved shutout that they've really earned multiple times this season was awesome. And there is nothing to point to in that game that wasn't great. Defensively, offensively, special teams. It was offensive line, running backs, receiver, tight ends. Our tight ends absolutely dominated. AJ Barner had a fantastic game. Colson Loveland had an amazing game. JJ was throwing darts.
2 touchdowns.
It was awesome. Another pick 6 by our defense. So now our defense is still outpacing our opponent's offenses for touchdown receptions on the year. So it was
it's
awesome.
Been brutal for everybody. It's been brutal.
It was awesome. Man. And you know what? Let's segue from that because clearly we weren't stealing anything that game, right? The quarterback was running to the sideline to get the play calls. So
kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, right. Probably trying to make a bigger deal out of nothing.
The situation.
And sure. But before we transition though, I do want to I do want to note that the game, while there were some cheap shots, no doubt. There were some one blatant personal foul on Michigan State
McGregor.
where the guy got on McGregor, and the Michigan State player got kicked out of the game. It wasn't quite the level of chippiness that it usually is, and I think it's probably because we had our foot on their throat by the end of the first quarter. But
yeah, to be honest, I seen people leaving before halftime.
Yeah,
it was brutal in there, man. But it was a great sight to see, man.
Yeah, and we had a touchdown taken away from us.
Yes,
that did. Touchdown right before halftime should have been a touchdown.
Yes, it had.
But I digress a little bit. But let's talk about the biggest news that has overshadowed a little bit this week. What a pounding we put on Michigan State, and that has made what we thought might be a relaxing, easy bye week a little bit busier.
It put a whole shadow over our season so far, man.
Yep, absolutely. Whole new meaning to Michigan versus everybody now. Whole new meaning to it.
Most definitely. Haters coming out the woodworks to throw dirt on us, man. It's crazy, man.
It is. So one thing I want to touch on as we dip into this is being a fan is an emotional experience. Being a fan of a sports team is an emotional experience. And Michigan fans, not just Michigan fans, all sports teams fans, we love our teams. And the emotion that's tied into being a sports fan is why it's so crushing when our teams lose, and why you get such a high off of big wins. And you could,
way to put it,
as this news was leaking, you could see the emotional impact that even the thoughts of any potential punishments and what it could do to taint this season is having on our fan base. And as we dive into this, I just think that it's important to remember that buckle in. Regardless of the course that any of this takes, we can still support the team. There is nothing that can be taken away from what these players are doing. There is nothing that the Michigan State fan base can say, that the Ohio State fan base can say, that can
Penn State, whoever,
erase, Penn State, whoever. Anybody that can erase the ride that we've had the last couple of years and what this season is doing. Social media, for anyone listening, don't let that get to you. Don't let what you're seeing on social media get to you, because those aren't facts, and Twitter is not a news source. There are legit sources for news that will give updated, accurate information. So let's dive into it though. So this investigation, it started with information kind of being released out there about one staff member, one analyst on our coaching staff, and Connor Stallions. And I don't want to dive too much into his name because as we talk about the emotion of being a fan, sometimes the emotion of being a fan means that we dehumanize people, and we're talking about a person there. And every single one of us has done something in our lives where we've made some sort of a mistake, right? We've cut some sort of a corner. Not everyone does it, and it gets brought front and center to the entire sports world. But it appears
I was about to say to the entire world, but yeah, for sure.
Right. And so it appears, based off of the information that started to come out, that he has violated at least some current NCAA rules. Whether or not it's in a gray area, it seems like there has been some sort of violation that has occurred. And that has to do with...
Has it?
Utilizing, potentially, right? There's a lot of information that is just information right now. And we don't know the interpretation of it. We don't know how the NCAA is going to interpret it. We don't know how Michigan's going to fight back with their interpretation of the language that's in the written rules. But it appears that he was buying tickets to opponents' games and sending people to observe those games.
Stealing signals from TV.
Yep, and that's completely legal. And
that's what it really boils down to. If like I said, I feel like he didn't do anything wrong, because I feel like if they really had something, it would have been out by now. I think they fishing, but I mean, I do understand why it's a big deal. I do, but I feel like it's one guy who had a plan to either I mean, because we don't really know the full conversation of the manifesto thing. We don't know what his plans was, but in the short term, it was for him to take over the program. So in my eyes, I just feel like this was one guy trying to do a mastermind scheme to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? I don't think any of the coaches knew. I ain't gonna say they didn't know his skills, but I don't think they knew where he was getting it from. Just like me and you, if I ask you a problem and you give me the answer to it, I'm not gonna ask you where you got the answer from. You know what I'm saying? That's That's the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? You gave me the answer. That's your job. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's that type of thing. It sucks that we're mixed up in it, but I don't think it's. I mean, like I said, I think it's just one guy with an elaborate plan to do something, take over the world type thing.
And all we can do is wait for facts to come out. And I think, contrary to the beliefs, opinions, and hopes of some opposing fan bases, that's going to take a long time to happen. I don't think that the results that Ohio State fans and Michigan State fans are hoping for, and maybe Penn State fans, they're not quite as loud about it.
I'm gonna say the NCAA gonna take a while, but as I've been reading out, the college football playoffs and the Big Ten, they still can rule before the NCAA, which I don't think they will, because like I said, it's no evidence out yet, unless, you know what I'm saying, it's just some stuff that has not been leaked or whatever, what have you not. But I still have not seen any evidence for anybody for us to even get a fine. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he made his plans clear in that manifesto. Now, if in that manifesto it says something different, like, oh, you know what I'm saying, blah blah blah, Jim, and everybody else was helping me, that's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? But until then, I just feel like it's one guy that was recruiting, what they say, 500 soldiers or something like that. I think they was all trying to just get into the college football scheme of things.
Yeah. So where the depending on how the rule is interpreted, right? So obviously, opposing fan bases are going to interpret the rules in a particular way, and obviously, as Michigan fan base, we're going to try to interpret them in the opposite way of what they are. And
Right.
so, an unbiased investigation, if that can happen at this point, may look at things differently than what Michigan fans look at things, or what our opposing fan bases look at things. But as the
But see,
rule is,
go ahead.
with Connor Stallions being a staff member, regardless of whether or not he acted alone or any other staff members were part of the plan, he would still have to abide by the NCAA rules. So either way, the NCAA would look at these infractions as infractions. Now, the depth of maybe what they would look to push Michigan towards as a punishment could change significantly if they determine that it was him acting alone and orchestrating this alone, versus if they dig in and they find out more information that the Michigan coaching staff either was part of it, in on it, knew about it, utilized it. That can change things. Right now, I don't think there's any information that indicates that any of the coaches were part of this plan, were utilizing this information. So he would be the culprit. He would be the lone person if they deem that
only coaching staff he said that used the information that was in that manifesto was Josh Gaddis. But even then, I don't even think Josh Gaddis knew. Like I said, he said he got it from the TV and then went to Josh Gaddis with it. So I don't, like I said, I mean, it could be bad. I mean, worse, you know what I'm saying, if they got something else. But as of right now, man, I don't see anything. I just don't. Even with him doing whatever or buying tickets, that's not a crime for nobody to buy tickets. But I mean, like I said, that manifesto gonna tell it all. I think that's the biggest evidence of all. That's what's gone.
And to be clear, it's not the stealing science is 100% legal. And
true. It's just the way you do it. You can't record with a electronic device.
Right. So stealing science is legal. Doing something that would be considered scouting, in-person scouting another opponent on your schedule, that's what's against the NCAA. That's what the NCAA rule is.
You can do that. Scouting. You can do that, but you just can't record when you do it.
No, even in person, even a staff person.
Okay.
That's the violation. The violation is the in-person scouting, and in-person scouting. From what I understand, the reason that is even a rule is because in 1994, it was deemed a competitive advantage because some programs could afford to a much larger extent to go scout in person than others. So that rule was even looked at recently to completely get rid of because it doesn't even make sense anymore. So if they consider what he was doing to be orchestrating in-person scouting as a staff member, that's the violation that the NCAA is going to find. Then if they add into the consideration of finding that opponent sidelines were being filmed and stuff like that, then that is that much different than in-person scouting, especially if it doesn't go beyond one person. I wouldn't be surprised if there are other staff members, but it's probably like you're talking about, Trey. If you asked me something, I gave a solution.
Like I said, I think by now, if it was other staff members, we would have definitely heard names by now. The staff members we heard was Chris Pershers and Jay Harbs, and You know what I'm saying? He really didn't even say, well, from for Sports Illustrated, you know what I'm saying, release. They said he didn't really even say nothing about them like that. It was just they was close friends. So, like I said, like I just don't see him going up to somebody like, hey, I'm stealing and doing this and doing that, knowing um that it's a highly chance for, not even highly, it's a extremely high chance for us to get caught. So I just don't see none of our staff putting us or the kids in that type of position. Now I could be wrong, because now I am looking at it from my Michigan eyes. You know what I'm saying? I am a homer. We both are homers. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely. Yeah.
at the same time, no, I I just gotta wait. We gotta wait till that manifesto was really released, and to see what they have to say, what it had to say. I mean, because I think he worked by himself, and I mean, even he was working on Michigan staff indeed, but I don't think he was doing it for Michigan. I think he was doing it to get himself ahead, not more than us ahead. If you understand what I meant, but I said that.
Yeah, and like I was saying, stealing signs is part of college football. When it comes to having analysts on coaching staffs, it it's against NCAA rules for analysts to coach. So they're not on coaching staffs to coach. That's not what they're allowed to do. What they do is they provide analytical analysis that the coaches that are busy coaching don't have time to go and do. And pretty much every program in the country at some capacity, part of their scouting report is to try and identify the signs that other teams are using to send in plays and to call plays. That's no different than that's part of watching film. That's part of watching game film. That's part of getting ready for the week. I remember, I don't know if a lot of our listeners know, I played Division III college football, and there was a week where we were playing a team, and that week when we were watching film of our opponent, we realized that their left tackle 100% of the time when they were running the ball was in a 3-point stance, and 100% of the time when they were passing the ball was in a 2-point stance. And once we identified that little tell.
Now, how long did it take for you to identify that, or did somebody have to tell y'all that? You know what I'm saying? See, football is it's like,
somebody on the team identified it just through watching film. They're like, hey,
see what
watch
I'm
this.
saying?
Their left tackle. So every play we had a defensive call where if the left tackle was in a 3-point stance, we gave some sort of a call out for like to indicate ground. It would be like army, tank, motorcycle, like something like that. That was a ground call. And every time he was telling everyone on the defense to alert that this play is going to be a run.
Yeah, for sure.
And every time that he was in a 2-point stance, we had some sort of a call like eagle, airplane, air force, an air call to indicate that it was going to be a pass. That every team that's getting ready for each game is looking for every little piece of information, indicator that they can. And when there's coaches holding up signs to call plays because the NCAA's coaches refused to allow them to get radios in the helmet so that they could just do what the NFL does and call in the play.
I don't get why they don't want that. I don't get that.
Because they want to steal signs. Because they want the competitive advantage of being better at stealing somebody's signs each week.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about it like that. Like, why do they not want technology on the sidelines? Like the Nebraska coach was talking about.
Right. And it would eliminate this completely. That this would not be even a talking point. But college football, the NCAA in general, it has never been clean. It is not clean. It is full of idiotic rules that get broken all the time, and teams self-report all of these minor infractions all the time because there's so many little intricacies that don't even make sense. And there's so much that goes on in the sport that is almost like don't ask, don't tell. Like everyone's doing it, don't make a big deal about it. So if you have programs that pre-NIL were dropping cash into bags of meals during recruiting visits for recruits, putting cash into backpacks, buying recruits before NIL, where it's still not even legal, do you think that their moral compass goes so high that they never have somebody on their behalf go and observe one of their opponent's games and then relay
I mean,
information that they take away
I,
from those games?
I think, like I said, I think everybody does it. I just don't think. Um, I ain't even gonna say everybody does it because everybody might not do it. You know what I'm saying? And they might have a different method of stealing signals or getting information on our, you know what I'm saying, on the plays that's coming up. But in our case, I just can't see him or our staff having any knowledge of this. And if it was one staff member that did, he's gone, and that's Josh Gaddis, the dude he brung it to. So
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't know. Like I feel like the world right now, they want the death of Michigan.
Oh yeah, they do. They do, and that's not real. That's not going to happen.
That's every fan base right now. We don't have an ally on our side right now.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I just the time, and then I got a question like, so who is this out there? They have named the independent firm that just was like, hey, NCAA, I want to talk about
Right.
Michigan. Like where did this come from?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
there's not a lot of
understand it.
information. Yeah,
I don't
not a lot of
understand it.
information. And when it comes to stealing signs, while we're still kind of on that topic, I was listening to one of our wingmen, Isaiah Hole over at the Wolverines Wire. I think it was yesterday on his podcast, was sharing information that he got from a source within the Big Ten, that basically to paraphrase what he said, teams in the Big Ten steal signs, and it's
trade
not
them with each
uncommon.
other, right?
Yeah, not uncommon for them to trade them with each other.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there's a couple schools that are left out of the friendship that is shared there, and Michigan State's one of them, apparently. But
I guess.
But there's no way that is unique to the sport. There's not a chance. That's why you don't hear other coaches being very vocal about this.
And then for Ohio State fans to come out like, oh, that's why they beat us last year and this and that. But then they coaches say, no, we changed the signals before we played them.
Yeah.
So now what's your excuse? Like, it's no excuse for nobody, bro. We didn't have to cheat. Like, if y'all changed y'all signals, like how we didn't know your signals, so we didn't cheat off you. And then the fact that if I don't understand, like if we was about to do all of this cheating and knowing everybody's signals and stuff, bro, we'd probably be blowing people out. We almost lost to Penn State.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying? We almost lost to, wasn't that Illinois last year?
Yeah.
We needed Moody last year for that, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I just don't understand. If we was doing all of this stealing signals, man, we wouldn't be struggling. I mean, granted, you know what I'm saying, we brought everybody back dang near this year, so everybody know what's going on and the schemes, and you know what I'm saying, we better. But I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. I see the one dude that did his job, overdid his job, and tried to skim over the top a little bit so he can get a little higher in life than what he was. And that's what he said, that he wanted to, you know what I'm saying, like take over. I mean, the proof is in the pudding to me. I think it's just like I said, and they not gonna find it. And if they do, it would be shocking. Even with the 13 teams saying they got video evidence and all of that, blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. The evidence would have came out by now, don't you think? Like somebody would have showed a video, at least one, one.
It's still right, and maybe that's with the NCAA right now. Maybe that private private firm has it, but what and we need to wait for the information to come out, right? Because like I said, in-person scouting in-person scouting, if it's deemed to be an extension of the Michigan staff, is going to be considered a violation by the NCAA. And I think there's like 30 games that 30 Big Ten games that they connected him to that he was buying tickets for, and
a couple non-conference games. They said
right,
it was like
that's
all top 10. Only person they didn't scout is TCU. They said in the article.
and
That's what they
that's
said,
completely
something
legal
like
because those teams weren't on the schedule, so we
Yeah.
couldn't be in-person scouting if they weren't on the schedule. So
yeah,
anybody on the staff could go to any of those games, but
yeah.
what has been happening has been slow, methodical leaking of information that's been, in my opinion, borderline unethical, because Michigan's got the gag order right now. They can't say anything.
Say
They
nothing.
can't say besides coming out and saying that
we ain't know nothing.
we didn't know anything and we can't speak on this during an investigation. They can't respond. So the information that has been reported, a lot of it's been irrelevant. A lot of it's been misinformation in a way, and all it's doing is trying to sensationally make Michigan look bad
Yeah, for sure.
and try and make Michigan guilty in the public eye before there's even an NCAA investigation.
Yeah, for sure. Because to be honest, it's not. I mean, it just didn't. They haven't charged us with anything.
No, they haven't even told. They haven't even brought the allegations to us. Right. The NCAA hasn't served a notice of allegations for Michigan to even respond to yet. So
Nope.
It's been kind of a Michigan smear campaign that's been going on, and I don't know where the leaks have been coming from. There's
all over the place.
Jim Stapleton was one name dropped by John U. Bacon, who typically is pretty accurate. If he's going to speak on something, John U. Bacon is pretty accurate with what he speaks on as it relates to Michigan. So that's one source. And somehow the Ohio State media knew about this before anybody. And every time there's been a leak, instantly the first people on top of that leak is the Ohio State media. So it's a little bit questionable, but I don't think there's anything that is out there right now that says without a doubt this is where information is being leaked from, or this is who hired this private investigating firm to investigate Michigan and then subsequently turn over information randomly to the NCAA. And quite honestly, I think that there's probably a lot of teams right now. There's probably a lot of programs, a lot of coaching staffs that intentionally don't know how their analysts provide information that they provide to them for their game each week, that would not just voluntarily turn over any sort of hard drive or cell phone of any of their analysts that provide them with any of the scouting reports that they get. So I think that there's a lot of people that this might not be a can of worms that is even worthwhile for the NCAA to open up, because if you dig into college football, I would venture to guess that these other programs throughout college football aren't on such a moral high ground that they never say, hey, do you want to go watch this game for me and let me know what you see while you're there?
Right.
So
it's just a crazy story, man. No, we're nowhere near
my
done.
My guess is we're not done with leaks of information. But a lot of that's misinformation. None of it's facts.
Not yet.
Michigan season's not going to get canceled. Harbaugh's not going to get fired right now. They're
They
not
gonna
going to
get
get
fired at all.
banned from the
They about to
postseason.
sign. They about to sign an extension because we about to win a national championship. And that's what
I
people don't
hope,
feel. Y'all not stopping us, man. Y'all not stopping us, man. We're winning this national championship, man. And if God willing, JJ winning this Heisman, sir. So, I mean, it's Michigan. It's about to be Michigan's year, man. And that's what people is mad at. Like, they gotta find something to try to knock us off, man. But it's not gonna happen.
you,
Thank you.
you know what it kind of seems like. Imagine that there's a big family of siblings, and there's this rule. Like the parents have this rule that you can't have candy. You can't have candy. But all of these kids, all of these siblings, they sneak candy in. They sneak candy in all the time. Like in the movie Heavyweights, they have it hidden in their bed, under their sheets, all that kind
Oh,
of stuff.
that was a good kid movie back in the day. That was
It
my movie,
was, it
man.
was.
Yeah, that was
And
my
then
movie, man.
and then all of a sudden one of them gets mad. They're all doing it. They're all sneaking candy. They're all eating candy. They have their own little stashes. And one of them gets mad at another one and goes and tattles and says, "Hey, here's go look. It's under his bed. He's got all this candy." And that kid gets grounded. And then whoever tattled gets beat up when parents go back upstairs or whatever. Right?
Yep.
It kind of seems like that's what's happening right now.
Yeah. Everybody trying to pile on us, man. Everybody.
Yeah. And
But we're gonna see
if
how
it's
it
coming
go.
from
Like I said,
yeah.
I don't. In my opinion, if something happened, we get a fine. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like I said, I don't think it's gonna be nobody implicated in this.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he gonna. Like I said, I don't think he in that manifesto is gonna tell it all. Whatever that manifesto say is what it is. You know what I'm
That
saying? If he say something in that manifesto, what is 600 pages, man, it got to be something. You know what I'm saying? Either it wasn't or it was. Like, release the manifesto. That's what they need to do. So go ahead and release that.
well,
And this to be over. People to stop the speculation. People to know what his plans was, and everybody will know. Like, all right,
well,
yeah, this what it was. This what it did. This what he wanted to do. Like, period.
yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, Twitter is not a news source.
No.
Um,
We not
so
even a
what
news source. So
we are not a news source.
yeah,
Whatever
we are not a
whatever
news source.
rumors you're reading about, all of these sensational headlines, don't let that get to you. There are a few sources of content that I've been following pretty closely. Blue by 90, who we always follow closely. Maize and Brew, who we always follow closely. Wolverine's Wire, Isaiah Hole has done a great job following this thing. The Wolverine on 3 has done a great job following this information. So there are some legit sources that you can get your content from that is not necessarily going to be the sensationalized anti-Michigan. And a lot of these sources they're going to tell it how it is. They're going to be pro-Michigan, don't get me wrong, but they're going to lay out facts for you. And so what you're talking about, the manifesto, Dre, actually the NCAA apparently was at Michigan today, meeting with staff in the athletic department. And it sounds like more of data gathering and temperature taking at this
Yeah,
point.
saying who all knew him and what he was doing. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand it. But like I said, I don't think that's because they don't got nothing, man. He ain't do. I mean, he did it all
Well,
on his own, and that's what they going. And I think to be honest, it's all gonna blow up in the NCAA face because they made it public when they wasn't supposed to go public yet.
they
Especially when they didn't charge us with nothing, and then when they don't find nothing, it's gonna look like a whole poop show. And they, you know what I'm saying? So
either they did or whoever got this started did. And don't get me wrong, if major violations took place, proper punishments should be taken by Michigan. But
no doubt,
we'll have to wait and see, because right now they met with the athletic department staff. It doesn't seem like they met with the coaching staff, but it sounds like they do have computer drives and computer files and cell phones and stuff like that of the coaches. So they'll do their due diligence. They're going to dig in. If there's anything to find, they'll find it. But it sounds like Michigan is completely cooperative. And to this point, there's still going to be. We're just at the beginning of this thing. The social media world is ready to cancel Michigan's season. The NCAA is not even ready to get in fully into the investigation yet. So at this point, it doesn't seem like any of the coaching staff is connected at all. It doesn't seem like anything has connected any of the coaching staff, but it's early in the process. So if there are any connections, I'm sure we're going to find out. I'm sure it'll get leaked. Sure it'll get leaked before Michigan even knows about it. I'm sure Ohio State's media and Yahoo Sports is going to have something up on it. And when they do get to the point, because they will, if they have, it's been so loud that they're going to have to bring something to the table. The NCAA, they're going to have to look at this and say, yes, violations occurred,
or no.
They're going to bring something.
Or no.
There's no way. But what do they want? Is Michigan officially firing this staffer? Is that self-imposed? Will you self-impose, fire somebody, pay a fine, we're done with it? Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll have to wait and see. But when they bring a notice of allegations, Michigan's going to have 90 days to respond to that. So for those people out there that are hoping that there's some sort of impact to this season, they're going to be in for a long ride. Because if they do go after Michigan, Michigan's going to fight back.
90 days to respond. We don't even got to respond right away. We got 90 days.
And then that's not even the end of the
season.
And that's not even the end of the process unless it's self-imposed something. We're done with it, right? Then maybe it's done and washed after 90 days.
I still think he's gonna get fired.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's my opinion. I think he's gonna get fired though.
Yep, absolutely. I absolutely think that will be, regardless, that will be something that Michigan has to do for the public eye at this point in time.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. So if you're giving a prediction, Dre, what's your prediction on what you think the outcome is going to be?
My prediction is I think they're gonna fire dude. And us probably paying a little fine, maybe if they like. I don't know because it just depends on what they find, man. If they find something, he was doing dirt, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, we got to get punished, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't how people wanted it. It's like they want the death penalty for us, and that ain't. That can't, you know what I'm saying? That ain't. I just don't know. My prediction, I couldn't tell you, D. I want it to be all false and nothing happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I want him to just admit that he was acting. I mean, well, still something gonna happen because he was on our staff. But you know what I mean? Like I just, I don't think. I just hope nobody else is involved. Which, no, I'm gonna stand confident on that. I know nobody was involved. Just cause that's my team and I'm gonna stand on it. There wasn't nobody involved. He acted alone. He was just trying to do his job better, but he found a little sneaky way to do it, and I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, I think that there's a specific way that we want this to go, right? And there's a specific way that anti-Michigan fans want this to go.
To be honest, I don't care how I go, long as it don't cost us wins, and you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. I don't really care how it go. You know what I'm saying? If we got to pay a fine or whatever, that's cool. I just don't want to vacate. No, I don't want it to be that severe that we got to vacate. Yeah. Once they start talking about vacating, that's what's gonna piss me off.
I don't think it will get to that point. I think if they try to get to that point, that's where the Michigan administration will stand up and put their dukes up and say, hey, if you really want to go to battle for this, let's get lawyers involved now, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that happened that weren't right. And if you're thinking that what you found here is the only place that you would dig in and find this, guess what? Let's go check at the college football world and see. So I don't think I don't think it'll get anywhere. I don't think it'll get to the point where there's any sort of bans or any sort of vacated wins or anything like that. I do think that there will be something, some sort of violation, some sort of punishment, but I'm assuming that it might lead to, if they find more people involved, maybe a couple additional people that are associated with Michigan staff being let go, and maybe some sort of a fine. But I think that something will come down from the NCAA, or they'll force us to self-impose something. So I don't think we're just going to get off scot-free, but it won't be anywhere near what people want. Nowhere near what our Ohio State friends and our Michigan State friends want.
We shall see, man. I just,
Yeah,
I have no
and
idea,
that's
man.
and that's all we can do. And for everyone out there listening, that's all you can do. Is no matter how much time you spend arguing with Ohio State fans or Michigan State fans on Twitter, whatever the NCAA finds in this investigation and whatever they decide to do with what they find in this investigation, it's going to happen. But what we have right now is we have a great team full of a bunch of great players from a bunch of great families, and now Michigan against everybody. It's got a whole new meaning. So I think we're running the table, and let's make sure that, if nothing else, no matter what happens, what information gets leaked, let's enjoy the ride. Let's go after a natty this year.
Natty for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
So there were some comments coming in, some people that were listening live as we were going. Doesn't look like any questions though. Thank you, Victor's Nation. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to tune in next week when we're not on a bye week. We're going to be joining up with the podcast from Purdue to preview the Purdue game, and we'll see what additional information we have in this saga for you next week.
Thank y'all always for y'all love and support. Y'all know my meanings. Love one another, respect one another. Go Blue.
Go Blue.